Okay. Alright. I think we'll just in a little bit. Okay, it looks good. I think we can probably bring this in a little bit. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and take that down. Do that with a peeling cut. Okay, this guy has come down just a little bit more than that. Okay, bring this in just a little bit. Now, I'm going to see where I'm going to pick up this cut right here. Okay, so we're going to continue this cut right down to that. Knock off corners first. Bring it down a little bit more. Just makes it, and that's good. Alright, so now we're going to take this, and to make it look like this, we're going to cut that into 3 beads. 1 bead here, 1 bead there. Okay. Now we're going to get out our detail detail spindle gouge and start shaving these beads a little bit. First the one up near the edge. This one's a little smaller, and not quite as stick up quite as much. Alright, we're going to have 3 beads here. I'm going to mark the center, that middle bead. And we're just going to shape this down before we add the bead. Same thing on this side. Find that bead on each side. I think those are looking pretty good. Now let's see how this is looking. I think this is looking pretty good on everything except a little cleanup work down here on this bead. Round over some of the rough spots, and I think we'll just about have it. Pretty good. I think we just got to sand them up. So I'm going to go ahead and sand this, and then we're going to start dyeing them. Okay, time to get ready to do some dyeing. Now I know some of you people are purists and you don't believe in coloring the beauty of wood, and that's okay, but I'd suggest give it a try. You don't have to, it's not paint, and you can still let the beauty of the wood show up. I've got a beautiful wife, but I got to tell you, sometimes when she's got her hair fixed up and makeup on, she looks even better. So I'm going to start with black, and I'm going to mix up enough for this project, and I don't know how much that's going to take. So I'm using a little baby jar. Now the ratio, I use Transtint dye, and you can mix it with alcohol or water. You know, there's other dyes out there. Just give them a try, whatever's convenient. I find this fairly convenient because you can drip drops in there. The ratio is 1 to 32, so it doesn't take a lot. I don't know how much that's going to take. The other tip I would share with you is always practice on a similar piece of wood so you get some idea what kind of results you're going to get. And wear gloves, because this stuff, when it dyes your skin, it's not coming off till your skin comes off. So I'm just going to put a healthy amount in here, and I'm using denatured alcohol. I've got a lot in there. And we're going to stir it up. And I think I mentioned before when I find that a straw makes a pretty good stirring rod. It's convenient. And I'm just going to get some of that off of there. Now, I'm using a chip brush. I may also use some of this paper towel to rub it in. The beauty of alcohol, and this is denatured alcohol. It's not rubbing alcohol. It's, you know, from the store, denatured alcohol. Maybe they call it methylated spirits in some places. So let's give this a try with this chip brush. These are inexpensive. I get them by the box from Harbor Freight, so I always have some ready. Well, I guess this thing is food safe. All right, so. And it soaks in pretty good. And then you can, it dries quick. Advantage of alcohol, it does dry quick. I don't think it blends as well as water. We're going to blend some colors, but I don't think that's going to be a problem with alcohol, because I'm not going to do a whole lot of them, and I'm just really going to highlight it after I sand it. So the trick is we're going to coat these things completely black, then we're going to come back and highlight, sand it back a little bit. And it's going to take in different densities depending on whether it's in grain, side grain, what kind of grain there is, whether there's spalting, and then how much we sanded back. So those are all factors to experiment with. The trick is, for me, is going to be to get these pieces similar, not necessarily identical, but colored fairly similar, so they look like they're a set. So now let me mention. Difference between dye and a stain. Dyes are very small particles. Stains are very large blocks of color that get in pores. Somebody described the relative difference is if a dye particle was a size of a BB, a stain particle would be the size of a pickup truck. So the dye really gets down deep. I don't think you got to worry about getting it on too even, because in this case I've got a lot of grain, but I'm also going to be sanding it back, and if there's a spot that's got too much, maybe that's where I'll sand it just a little bit more before I put another color. I haven't decided what color to put on it, but I'm thinking red. I want to show you a color wheel. Maybe I'll find it. I have not been able to find it because I don't use it much. Because frankly, I don't color much. This is kind of new, but my wife said she wanted them dark or black or dark brown, so I've got to figure out how to meet her wishes. Now it looks kind of dry and dull, but a lot of that is because it'll go back to a wet look when you put a final finish on top of it. The dye is not the final finish. Okay, we're going to let those dry. Then we're going to sand them to I think with about 240, and then we'll apply another color. I'm going to sand these on the lathe using about 220, 240 grit. Not too aggressive, just enough to take some of the, change the color a little bit and take care of any maybe raised grain. I'm going to turn on the dust collector. Now I'm going to wipe this off with some paper towel with some friction before I put on some red dye. Okay, now I'm going to mix a little bit of red dye. I'm not going to mix as much because I don't think I'm going to need as much. I'm using a canister that's already had red dye in it. And I don't think I want this as quite as thick as the black, because I just want to add some red highlights, so we'll just add maybe, I don't know, just a few drops of red. Before I do start here, I'm going to tear off a little piece. And actually, just do it on this block a little bit, just so I get some feel for what I've got to deal with here. Looks like I've spilled, oh, it looks like this may have a hole in it, so let's. You can tell it's not a real bright red, just enough to give it some highlight, so I think I'm okay with that. Okay, I blotted on some red and added a little highlights. Now I'm going to sand it a bit with 320, and then I think I'm going to come back and maybe lightly touch some black on the areas that are a little too bright. Okay, I'm going to put a felt pad on the bottom of each of these so it doesn't scratch up my table, dining room table. If you hadn't seen me do this in the episode on my making chessmen, I want to show you an easy way to cut that. Basically, I just fold the pad in half that's big enough with a square, and I'm going to place it up flat against this block in the appropriate size. Bring up a little tension, and this thing's going to flop around a little bit. I'm going to bring this out. A skew works well, but actually what I found out works best is a spindle gouge, because it seems to cut the felt shraps a little bit better. So we get that thing going at pretty good speed, and we're just going to come in here. I'm going to take one more clean pass. And there we have two perfectly round pads to glue on the bottom of our candlesticks. Okay, here's that color wheel I was telling you about. I know this may be kind of elementary for some of you folks that know a lot about color and dyeing, but I sure didn't know. I'd never used a color wheel before, and it really is handy when you start mixing dyes. So my suggestion, if you're getting into dyeing, get you a color wheel. They're not very expensive, and they'll help you out. I'm going to glue the felt on now. I'm going to use some of this Eileen's original tacky glue, which seems to work pretty well for this. But you know, probably most any kind of glue will probably work. And of course, my caveat on this whole project, like I usually say, this is not the only way to do it. It may not be the right way to do it, but the way I do it after some serious research and practice and consultation and experience. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to show you a close-up of these after I finish it.